It's funny because I was going to make the joke, every brand needs a mission statement as long as they're marketing towards millennials, right? And to me, there was this sort of practical stance in marketing of, I'll use toilet paper as a product that's meant to wipe your butt and keep you clean. And it was practical. And now every toilet paper brand has to have a mission statement and a purpose. And I feel like a lot of that is because it's so easy to spin up brands, create challenger brands, go direct to consumer. It's just easier to create and distribute products. And so the only thing we can differentiate on is the reason why we're doing it, not what it is or the values or products or purposes. You have a different take here. So give me your definition of purpose-based branding. And I just want to go over like where you're coming from when it starts with the reason why a brand needs a purpose.
Every brand has a purpose, and it's a question of focus, whether or not they actually crystallize their purpose. And taking your toilet paper example, if a brand can create value in your life, do it ethically and consistently, and that's a brand that you trust. We all probably have a favorite toilet paper brand that we use, right? We trust that brand to do something for us, and that creates a relationship. Now, it doesn't have to be toilet paper. It could be just about anything that creates a relationship with you as a value-generating, consistent, trusted participant in your life. And if you can surround yourself with entities that you trust, that generate value for you consistently, that you feel like you have a relationship with, then your life becomes better. And in my opinion, every brand wants to become the one to trust, and that's where it starts with. Purpose-based brand says, the brand I'm working for now. So we sat down at Employer Funded Financial Aid, and we said, what is it that we're here to do? And I'm not going to plug the company. I'm just going to say very near to me the process that I went through.
Sure.
And we were here because U.S. student debt was so high. We were all parents, and it concerned us. And we said, we want to reduce U.S. student debt. And we had a mechanism to create that value, to reduce U.S. student debt. Somebody has to benefit. That's a whole other story. But because the customer has to benefit from what you're doing. But U.S. student debt, wow, at the time when we started building our solution, it was $1.77 trillion. And for context, that's about 1.5 times U.S. credit card debt. Massive problem.
Yeah.
As we sit here today, it's higher than that. It took us a while to build our product. It is now, most current report that I've seen, it's now 2.18 trillion, which, to give you context, is more than U.S. credit card debt and auto debt combined. So
it's also how much I still owe for my remaining mortgage.
Right. There's lots of problems with debt. Nobody likes debt. It's a good purpose to have. But for us, if your purpose is to reduce U.S. student debt, it's hard to argue with that. And then if you can start showing traction with that and actually creating progress against that and do it in an ethical way, a lot of people are going to say, wow, I trust that brand to create a certain value for me, and I want that brand in my life. And every brand, potentially, including the toilet paper brands, has that opportunity. So purpose-based brand strategy means that you start by saying, what's this higher order of value that I am here to create in the lives of my stakeholders?
Give me an example here, and I want to use the toilet paper example, and I'll just say that word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing known to man. When we were talking about toilet paper in our pre-planning meeting, I switched our family's toilet paper based on your recommendation. Northern, am I correct? You're a Northern guy? All right. I'm glad we got that out there. I think of toilet paper as a commodity, right? Not something that has to be purpose-driven, right? I think of Liquid Death as a purpose-driven brand, right? It's trying to do something pithy to make drinking water cool. But toilet paper, I don't really care what the purpose is. But you seem to think that the toilet paper brands are all purpose-driven. Walk me through what the purpose of the brand behind the toilet paper and how does that work in your head?
I guess I wouldn't say that every brand is purpose-driven, but every brand can be purpose-driven, and every brand has a purpose. And there's a difference, right? Purpose-driven means that you have something that continually drives you. You have to know what the promise is that you're making to the market in order for it to continually drive you. In order to know it, you have to define it. And purpose-based marketing, purpose-driven marketing comes from a place of being intentional and figuring out what your higher order purpose is. Now, you could say, and I think a lot of the issues with trust in the US today spring from this, you could say that in counterpoint to every brand has a value to create for you as a stakeholder, you could also say every business is just in business to make money. None of this other stuff matters. It's all...
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Is we all the brands should try to be purpose driven and communicate the value that they're creating and the reason why they exist, and that should dictate their marketing language and their offers and their pricing and their promotion, because they have this higher calling of what they're trying to achieve. But fundamentally, isn't the purpose of a company to generate profit? Isn't that we live in a capitalist society here in the United States? Isn't that the purpose for everyone?
I would say the purpose of the brand, the purpose of the company, the purpose of the organization of people who are creating on behalf of the brand every day is to create a certain value, and money follows that. Bain did a study last year, I think, maybe 2 years ago, found that they created some objective measures, and they found that a purpose-driven brand, a purpose-driven company who intentionally creates a value has a delta of about 5x between its performance and companies that don't intentionally follow their purpose. So if you're just in business to make money, unless you build money printing presses, or you're a hedge fund, or your avowed purpose is just profit based, you're not trusted by stakeholders. And trust is key. It all comes back to trust. Every brand should become the one to trust. So if I'm an investment firm and my purpose is to generate superior returns, and I do that ethically, my stakeholders will say, oh, I trust that brand. It does what it says. It does what it looks like it should be doing, and it does it ethically. If my purpose is to create cleaning products that don't hurt the environment, if the purpose of my company, like a seventh generation, is to protect the environment in some way, which I would say arguably seventh generation's purpose, as in a very plain spoken way, that's how people think of seventh generation. And if my purpose is to protect the environment, and I create products that protect the environment, that clean really well without harming the environment, then people will trust me to do that. If my purpose is to organize the world's information and do no harm, and I make an announcement that I'm going to lay off 25,000 people because that division isn't making enough money for me, then my brand is going to take a huge purpose hit, a huge trust hit. Likely because people will say, oh, that brand is demonstrating that its purpose is to make money, because instead of doing no harm in the lives of 25,000 people, which is significant, it's saying you're not making enough money for me, so you're out of here, even though that brand is making a lot of money overall. That's the difference between following a purpose of creating value, your intentional purpose of creating value, and just demonstrating that you're in the game to make money, if you're not a hedge fund, if you're not an investment firm.